Finally, the embargo has come up, the final one that I can give you the full details now on Oppo's flagship Ultra phone. So the Find X9 Ultra, I've been using it now just a little over 2 weeks. I got this in China, took a lot of sample footage, over 800 photos and video. So I've tested this phone out thoroughly. And I'm going to cover in this video all the pros and cons that I've encountered and why I think this is the Ultra phone to go for if you're in the market for the absolute top end. And yes, this phone is global now, finally. So you don't get much included in the box, and if you missed my unboxing, well, you didn't miss much because we get some paperwork, a Type A to Type C cable, and a SIM tray tool. That's it. There is no super VOOC charger and no case. So take a look at our design, the build. So screen here is with, well, reasonably slim bezels. We've got a 50 megapixel camera there at the front, capable of 4K 60 maximum, 4K 32 as well with that. And I found that in general, the UI here, this is Color OS that it is running, based off Android 16, is very fast and fluid. Most of the time, I have occasionally seen like a little tiny bit of an animation, slight hiccup. So it isn't quite perfect, and I'm sure with firmware updates, they're going to improve upon that, but it is a build quality that I am very fond of, the look of this phone here. Now, it does weigh 235 grams. We have what they call a eco leather. In fact, it's a synthetic leather here, so like your fake leather. Gives it a good texture, some nice grip, and what I love about it is it resists fingerprints, so you do not see them. You've got your Oppo here, Hasselblad partnership again, of course, and that is all metal here, so it's all out of an aluminium frame. We have the snap key here that you can dedicate to various different shortcuts. You could launch, for example, AI translations or whatnot, and then the camera button here too. Location has been tweaked, so I find it to be all right. I'm not accidentally triggering it, and what I have disabled myself personally is I don't like the zoom feature. So when I'm in the camera and then using this, it's not going to be doing the zoom for me because I found it's a little too sensitive, but you can tweak the sensitivity. And yes, you can use it as a two-stage camera button too, which I'll demonstrate. So I can tap here and press down just a little bit. It focuses, tap again, and it's going to start recording because, well, I'm in the video mode, but you get the idea. For photo mode, it does the same thing. So the frame is very nice. It's 8.7 millimeters if you're not including the camera module. Now, this camera module, it sticks and juts out a little bit, and I've just done a comparison with this, the X300 Ultra from Vivo, and that juts out even further. When you look at them here side by side, you see what I mean? That one sticks out a little bit more, even though the frame is thinner, the camera module is sticking out there. Now, when you're using it and you have it down on a table, it's steadied, okay? It barely rocks. It's not like my Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, which is all over the place. No, this is very good unless you touch at the absolute top there. Then you may notice something. So cameras, of course, let's talk a little bit about them. We have the true color camera, which does detect the light and balances that according to the scenario, the situation, ambient light and colors and whatnot. We've got an ultra wide 50 megapixels. The star of the show is that 10 times optical zoom camera, 50 megapixels, which is impressive. They've been able to fit that in. So you don't need one of those tele extenders to get the 10 times anymore because it's built right into the Find X9 Ultra. Main camera, 23 millimeters, and that is 200 megapixels, so not a 1-inch sensor. 3 times optical is also 200 megapixels. We've got 8K video recording at 30 frames per second, a first for Oppo to actually bring that to us, which is really good. Dual tone LED flash. All up, great build quality. Down the bottom here, finally, we've got our Type-C port that it does support video out, and we have 2 nano SIM support there, loudspeaker, microphone, and IR on the back of this too as well, including IR focus. So I think it's a good looking phone. I really do like it. I'm fond of it. So we can shoot 4K 30 and 60 with this front-facing camera in these bright, sunny conditions. It's doing okay. I have noticed that on this first firmware, it can overexpose a little bit, and I find it to be sometimes a bit bright, but you are able to go and tweak the exposure and tone that down a little bit, and it will save that preset, but I'm using it at the default settings right now for this review. Rear camera video now. This is the 50 megapixel ultra wide.
It's 14 millimeters for photo. Again, with video, it does crop in for the electronic image stabilization. Oppo's focused a lot on improving our video quality and giving us more options. So I'm really happy to see that we now can shoot with log, and that is also up to 8K 30 frames per second with that log footage. And you can then go and use and apply LUTs to grade that yourself. This is now the main 200 megapixel sensor using optical image stabilization. Very steady, very smooth. And I can go over to our 3 times, just look through these trees here to the monastery that is in the distance. And the stability is excellent, very good. This is a 6 times preset, and now 10 times optical. Very, very good, that stability, I'm impressed. And the flexibility of being able to shoot log footage and apply LUTs later to this is great, and going all the way up to 4K 120 frames per second and 8K 30 frames per second. This is finally the ultra wide again. Now, to criticize, one thing that I have noticed is that the transition between the lenses doesn't seem to be as smooth as the X9 Pro, the Find X9 Pro, and this is probably just down to optimization. Hopefully Oppo can tweak this, as you can see, but the stability here very, very good. At times it looks like I'm almost using a tripod. I just do wish that they could improve upon this when you switch over the cameras. Not that I personally do this myself a lot, but I know that others do. Very quick sample now of 8K footage. This is 8K 30 frames per second. So we have it with the 200 megapixel cameras. So that is our main camera and the 3 times ultra wide, and 10 times optical not supported. So here I'll go over to the 3 times now. Still 8K, so you can crop in a bit more. And if you do scale this down to 4K, you'll find you have a little bit more in terms of detail that I've noticed. So great option. This is the first time that Oppo has given us 8K video. You can also shoot 8K log as well. There is 4K 120 frames per second. So with this clip here, what I did is filmed it and then slowed it right now down to 30 frames per second, and you can see the results are very good. I think the sharpness is good, better than some other brands. So if you're anything like me, there's never enough footage, right? So I have stitched together video of just raw 4K stuff that I shot, all right? So there's no edits. I just simply drop these clips into the timeline. It's around about 7 minutes long, and it'll give you an idea of what is possible in terms of stability, different lighting conditions, and video performance in general, of what to expect. So make sure you do check that out. It is in the channel now, live. Don't worry, I've not forgotten about photo samples. So portraits look very good, great stitching. I like the skin tones, and I'm loving these results I'm seeing. Now, we had so many models on the trip, and I got some absolutely stunning photos. Everyone did, like this one right here. So that's 70 millimeter. Again, 70 millimeter, so 3 times zoom, 200 megapixels. Taking it up to then 10 times optical. Amazing results. You don't even need to use the portrait mode. And I love what Hasselblad is doing. Well, Oppo and Hasselblad, they're not overdoing the processing. They're trying to keep things natural, skin tones natural, retain detail. So all of the shots I'm showing you, I didn't use any beautifying at all. And I love this focus. I feel like other brands like Vivo are sometimes overdoing the processing, maybe a little bit of skin smoothing, but Oppo this time around, they're not doing it. Now, I love personally taking a lot of street portraits, street photography style portraits of people. And I'm so pleased with the results that I got that I'm just really blown away. It's hard to believe some of these photos were taken on a phone. In good lighting conditions, the zoom is phenomenal. So this is the ultra wide. I take it over to the main camera, 23 millimeters, and then 230 millimeters. Still so much detail is retained, and the color's looking quite good. This is the original preset. So amazing daytime shots, but yes, it struggles a little bit in lower light conditions as expected, susceptible to any amount of shake or movement. Or if you have a subject like this little chipmunk here that moved around a lot, would often be blurred. So fast moving children or animals might be difficult with the 10 times optical zoom camera. But all up, I am just loving the flexibility of the camera systems here we have with the Find X9 Ultra. And I love the zoom cameras, especially the 3 times optical. I've taken a lot of shots with that. Love the depth of field you do get. and overall the results, the details, and that lovely looking bokeh, the background blur. Those zoom cameras, especially the 3x optical zoom, are also great for macro shots, as you can see from these examples. The colors are also on point. Master mode is another of the modes that a lot of people probably won't use, but I love the way it handles the shadows, different processing, different mood and feel to it, and it looks more to me like that of, say, a mirrorless camera. So this is it off, and this is it on now. You can see clearly a difference, and again, this is the master mode off, just the standard original, which looks a bit oversaturated, and then the master mode on. See the way the processing is handled, the colors, contrast. To me, it looks better. And of course, this phone's more than just cameras, but finally, just 3 more photos after this. Low light performance, very good with what I'm seeing. The weakness is, as I said before, the 10x optical and maybe a little bit the 3, but you can still get some amazing results. If you want to see more camera samples, check out my camera comparisons. There should be 2 in the channel now with this phone. Oppo doesn't go overboard with the bloatware either, which is good. So Color OS global version of this does not have too many apps, and it's quite easy to go into system settings, uninstall, find the bloatware, which is the apps that you just don't want pre-installed, uninstall them. Quite straightforward. Now, battery life, you're looking around about a screen on time of 10, 11 hours, depending on what you're doing and the settings you're using. So if you don't use the Quad HD Plus resolution, drop it down to Full HD Plus. There's a bit of a gain there in the battery. And if you don't use 144 Hz refresh rate, if you want, you can keep it in the adaptive setting, and the result will probably be even better than this. But overall, I've been pleased with the battery life in my time testing it out, that for some people, it will be about 2 days before you need to charge the phone. Now, the Antutu score, very good. If you like your synthetic benchmarks, over 4 million points. Excellent result there. And what about throttling? It does throttle. I've seen this before. So our Find X9 Pro, that had throttling of around about 50% stability. What Oppo likes to do is lower the throttling point, so it will chop down the turbos, the speed of the processor, so it doesn't get as hot as, say, some other phones. Other brands like Xiaomi will really push those temperatures, and you'll see a higher stability score. So not amazing, but all of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5s are like this. They're normally all throttling down to 50 to 60% stability there. They are very powerful chips, but also quite hot. It did get up to 48 degrees Celsius, and the frame is a little bit hot to the touch. It's not unbearable. It's not super uncomfortable, but it gets a little bit warm there. You definitely notice it when gaming, which I'll test out later on. Internal storage speeds are really good. Over 4,000 sequential reads and writes. Random access is excellent. 0 complaints. Apart from that, we don't have a terabyte version, it seems, of this particular model for the global market. I think in China they will have the terabyte version. I think global is limited to 12 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. I would love to see a 16 and terabyte, 1 terabyte option. So a synthetic test here of our battery life shows a really good result, 15 hours, which is phenomenal. Then battery life, we have 15 hours and 2 minutes. Wow, really good. But this is a synthetic looping test down to 20% battery. I configure all the phones to the same brightness in my reviews, so you can compare them. And this result is right up there, right up the top. And that's because it does have, well, an efficient chipset, and it does have, of course, that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Battery life, very good. We're looking at 15 hours with a PC Mark synthetic battery life test. So it's just looping video and other kind of light tasks. And this is how we got such a good result. So you can, in my other reviews, take a look at them and see the similar kind of results. This is chart topping because it does have a 7,050 milliamp hour battery. So it's reasonably large silicon carbon battery, and it charges in around about 49 to 51 minutes in my testing, depending on, of course, when you start to charge. But from about 10%, you're looking around 52 minutes. From here, from 18, 49, and that's 100 watt charging with the Super VOOC charger, which is not included. Well, at least not with the box that I got, as I showed you.
Onto audio now, which the loudspeakers are very good. I'd rate them as a 7.5 out of 10. They're not the best I have heard. They're not the most powerfulest, but the volume's good. It's up there. Bit of bass, mids, treble, good. They are speakers that I would say are possibly, well, I think they're better than the X9 Pro. From the previous model we had, the Pro version. Now with the Ultra, they seem to have just tweaked them a little bit. And the haptics, well, you get short little bursts. So it's nothing amazing. I found that in the haptics, in the keyboard here, when typing, you can feel those little short pulses. They could be stronger. I definitely felt a lot better. So I would rate the haptics as pretty average, to be honest, about a 6 out of 10. They could improve upon that. I guess, they're focusing more on the cameras and other aspects of hardware. It's fine. I think most people will be pretty happy with the haptics. Now let's get on to a speaker sample. Oh, just before I do, voice calls, they sound absolutely fine like any flagship. There's noise cancellation too there. Here's a sample now at 100% volume, and you hear that the speakers don't distort, loudness is good, and overall, not bad. Well, this might be a camera-centric phone. It can, of course, game with that Snapdragon 8 Elite. Gen 5 performs really well, and this is Wuthering Waves on the absolute top settings here. And you will occasionally notice some little frame dips. It's not 100% perfect. You notice it maybe after about 40 minutes, and I'm talking very, very minor. In general, really good performance, very smooth, but it won't be the fastest out there for gaming. You can get one of those gaming phones that have fans in them to cool them, and you get way less thermal throttling, and they have a stability score with 3D Mark of about 70%. However, they have absolutely terrible cameras. But here, I think it's a good balance. You get amazing cameras, build quality, and generally very good gaming performance. It'll play every game out there with a really good frame rate. So Oppo's put together here a solid package. The build quality, the features, 10 times periscopic camera with the engineering behind that is one hell of a feat to be able to do that with a 50 megapixel sensor. I know guys in the comments, oh, it's not the first 10 times optical zoom flagship. It isn't, but it is with the sensor size. Now we have that 3 times optical zoom camera with 200 megapixels. The main, while it's 23 millimeters, I do prefer that for video. For portraits, yes, 35 millimeter like other flagships is really good. And yes, it's not a 1-inch type sensor, but it's a very capable sensor and apparently brighter and more flexible for pretty much everything, including video, versus the 1-inch type sensor that at least I've been told from Oppo. Ultra wide seems really good. The battery performance seems great. It is looking very good. Great screen. I've noticed that it's not perfect. No phone is perfect, especially upon release. Firmware niggles, some little tiny things I've noticed. So animation, as I pointed out, can sometimes have a bit of jankiness to it. It's not always as smooth as it should be, especially at 144 frames per second. So updates required. Camera, I've noticed there is some flickering in video in low light, that the focus of 10 times can sometimes have a little bit of an issue or some motion blur to it because it just is very susceptible to any kind of movements and shakes. I hope they can improve upon that. And things like exposure being a little bit too much in general, I've seen this, but they're minor things and they're all software. So with a bit of tweaking, some updates, and some time on their hands, Oppo, I believe their software engineers and their camera engineers can make this thing even better than what I'm showing you right now. But I am thoroughly impressed with the performance, the features that Oppo's packed into this. They really are excelling and ahead of the competition. Now, if you want to see more on the Find X9 Ultra, check out my camera comparison. There's an unboxing video as well, and there's going to be a lot more. So do have a look at those videos. Thank you so much for watching this review of the Oppo Find X9 Ultra.